Silence for like 3 seconds.
As soon as you said silence, we were done.
Oh my God. So one of the final things that I want to talk to you about. I was trying so hard, bro.
Oh, freak. Oh, man, I got tears.
Okay.
God, dang it.
I think I got it all out. I'm pretty sure. All right.
I'm hoping I did.
Okay.
I'm really hoping.
All right.
Woo!
3.
All
2.
right. All right, let's do it.
Okay. All right, come on, man. We got to eat. I'm hungry.
Yeah, bro.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll get serious.
All right, that's the motivator.
All right, yeah, because be with the fam.
Yeah.
All right. We got to find a different motivator.
That's not good enough. That's not good enough, bro. I got real tears.
I know.
Yeah. Let's go and get straight to it. My God is the best. His name is Yahweh. I advise you to check. Yeah. My God is certified, glorified. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. Just give him your life. Yeah. And you'll know the truth. Yeah. My God is 100 proof. Yeah.
Welcome to the Not Close Enough podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah, and I got my first special guest, and he's not just a guest.
Not at all.
This is my brother. I was his best man. He was my best man in our wedding.
Best.
And I got some heat for that, by the way, but it's okay because this is my boy, the legend, the most amazing at making beats. And I'm just playing. You don't make beats anymore, but he's good at making beats. He's great at photography and videography. Mm-hmm. Did I say that right?
You did say that right.
Okay. And he does so much more. He is a father of 5,
yes,
a husband to an incredible wife that I put them together. Anyway, before we get into that, this is my boy, Johnnie. So what's up, Johnnie? How you doing?
What's up, man? I appreciate you having me on, man. It really means a lot. And I'm the first guest.
You are the first guest.
I mean, goodness, I feel so honored. Thank you for having me, man.
He should feel honored. Man, we got a lot to talk about in a little bit of time because when you have a lot of family,
that's right.
Time is very important.
Very important. Somebody might be going crazy right now, running around with no diaper because I got 5 kids and 2 in diapers. So
2 in diapers. For the people who don't know you, I don't want to get too much into the specifics of your kids, but what are the ages?
So I have one 11-year-old, one 10-year-old, one 7-year-old, one 2-year-old, and the last one is 1 year and 2 months.
Woo, that is crazy, man. And of course, I already knew this. I didn't know their ages. No,
I was gonna say, I know you didn't know the ages,
but man, this has been incredible. Again, super glad that you're here, man. The main reason why I wanted to bring you on was for one major topic. And I think this topic is going to help you. And I actually forgot to say, I'm going to say it now. So this podcast is called Not Close Enough, but we believe that close enough is not close enough when it comes to our relationship with Jesus. And so that's what this podcast is all about, helping you take that next step. And one incredible way to help you take that next step is to have a brother in Christ, to have that fellowship that I had talked about a couple videos ago. And I couldn't think of anyone else, though I have a lot of amazing people in my life. I'm grateful to have a good pastor, good brother, good wife, good people around me. But when I tell you that this brother right here has been through thick and thin, literally, he has been there for me. I just called him a couple days ago. He probably gets my calls a lot more now in this season, but he has helped me off the ledge. He has helped me strengthen my faith. And when I tell you, it is so important about having that brotherly love, that brother connection, or even if there's ladies watching, that sisterly love or that sister connection, and that person, that godly person that will help you. A Bible verse that comes up to mind is Galatians chapter 6, verses 1 and 2. That when it says those who are godly, they should go to that person who is, fallen into sin and help them back, right? But don't get tempted to fall in the same spot. But then in verse 2, it talks about carrying and sharing each other's burdens. And I don't know anyone else in this world other than my wife that has carried, who has shared a load of my burdens, and vice versa. And so, today we're just going to be talking about the importance of that brotherly love, or just to have that godly fellowship, and why it's so important. And so, man, hey, I don't know if you want to talk about it. Like, when was the first time we met?
Man, we've been friends since, I was 12 years old. I think you might have been 13.
13.
This is middle school, you guys. Middle school. And I remember I was actually at a different middle school. I ended up failing the 6th grade. And so my mom tried to find a different school for me to go to that would allow me to basically get back to the 7th grade. And that's how I ended up at Morenin Middle School. And that's where I met Isaiah, man, and we've been friends ever since. I think where are we at? I was 12. I'm 32 now, so 20 years of friendship.
20 years.
20.
Man, that's a lot of time.
That's a lot of time.
I've known you for 20 years, and we still friends?
Still friends, bro.
That's
still
crazy.
Friends. And we've been through a lot together, man. I've seen this guy go through a lot of things. He's watched me go through a lot of things. We got to obviously, like he said, be each other's best man. And not only that, but just witness a lot of the first events that we got to experience in our lives. I watched him become a father. He watched me become a father. I moved away. I came back. Different jobs that we've had, different seasons of life, getting married, the whole bit. And it's been a pleasure, man. It's just been great just being friends and just having a friend, right? Like 20 years of life.
I don't think we realize how lucky we are. I hear a lot of people say, like, oh, I don't really have that person. Or maybe they do have friends, but they're not on that wavelength or that type of like, hey, I want to bring you up. I want to help you to get what God's called you to be. Not a lot of people have what we have. No. And so that's why it's so important to at least try to attempt to get something like this. I mean, it doesn't have to be exactly like us, but
it ain't gonna be.
It's not. I'm sorry, man. But it's just so important. So one of the things I want to, because I know the reason why we're here is, why do you think it's important to have this type of brotherly bond? And though we're not blood, I truly don't think someone who isn't my blood could be any closer than
Facts.
you.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, you're closer than a lot of my blood.
Yeah.
99.9%. And
right.
So why do you think it's important to seek, to find, to build, to cherish what we have here, and why it might help other people?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like we were kind of talking about, we've had 20 years of friendship, and we've watched each other go through different seasons of life. And when life changes and when life hits you, both good and bad. So don't get me wrong. Obviously, everything's not bad and it's not always good. But it's always great to, when things are good, right, to have somebody to call and share that with, right? We were friends when we were kids, when we were young, teenagers. And so being able to express the things that you're grateful for in life that are happening, that are good. And then also in times where, man, things ain't looking so good, and you really need somebody to encourage you to, and obviously we didn't start this way, and we'll probably get into that a little later in another episode, but we weren't believers when we first became friends, but now being friends, being believers, man, somebody to pray for you, somebody to encourage you when you feel like quitting or when you feel discouraged. All those things are just important, and we need that in life, right?
Yeah, we absolutely need that in life. And I just feel like a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah. It's a rare thing, man. It truly is rare nowadays. And I think the biggest reason why it's so rare is because just trust. To trust somebody for 20 years, to be committed, because at the end of the day, it's a relationship. You know, we've been friends, and, you know, being honest, we've had moments where we've let each other down, but being able to get past those things, and something that my brothers always said is, you know, when things get hard, they either make you or they break you. So they either make the relationship stronger or they break it, and the relationship is no longer. That actually rhymed, man.
Yeah, man. Hey.
So yeah, having a good friend, not like just a friend.
Yeah.
But a true friend, somebody who's got your best interest at heart. And that's something that we've both had to do with each other, right? Where we've had to tell each other hard truths.
You know, I was going to get to that.
Yeah.
That was actually the next thing. So I think the reason why so many people don't really have that bond, and I hope there are more people, but I think the reason why people don't have that bond is because you said one is trust, which is kind of bleeds out to what I'm going to say is people just don't like having other people around to give them the difficult truth, the hard answer.
Right.
And how many hard answers have we had to give to each other?
Even when you don't want to hear it. And that's the big one too, is there's moments where I've called you or you've called me, and we're dealing with a certain situation in life, and we thinking we're in the right, only to find out, hey man, bro, I love you. You wrong on this.
That's how you know something is coming when you say, bro, I love you.
Yeah. Gotta remind them real quick before I put you down.
Yeah, that's how I know something big is coming. And you've done that, and we've done that for each other for
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
I mean, you know, it's funny, even before we were believers, we always believed in God.
In God, yeah, absolutely.
But the difference of actually believe, like, oh, I believe there's a God out there, and like, no, I have a relationship with him.
With him. Yeah.
And I think even before our relationship started, like, there was always that bond there. There was always that loyalty there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly, you know, like I don't know what started, what made it hold. And to be honest, I think really it was our faith.
Yeah.
Like, I think just like you, we've had many friends in our circles before faith, right?
Yeah.
But I think it was because of our seriousness and our faith that brought us to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Of like you wanting to push me wanting to push you. And it really did something to our relationship. Because you think about it, all the groups, all the friends that we had around us, they're not really around us no more.
That's true.
And it's not hate towards them at all. We love those guys.
Yeah,
every time I see them, I'll be like, what's up?
So hyped to see them.
But
what you're saying is true, man. You think about all the different friendships, and again, it's no hard feelings, but we were able to stick it out and stay close, right? That's what makes a good friendship. Being close, checking up on each other, calling each other. And some relationships, they just fall out, you know, and that happens. But the one that perseveres all the way through the end, where you stick with each other and you continue to check on one another, and life kind of looks the same. I think that's another thing, man. A lot of friends that we kind of, I don't want to say fell away from, but that's what kind of comes to mind. We kind of fell out in a sense. They were just doing different things than we were. Different priorities, man. There was stuff we were trying to get away from. And so we had to kind of distance ourselves a little bit, because we were growing up in our faith, man. God was calling us to walk away from a lot of things. And I think that's one of the most beautiful parts, right? Where we were experiencing something new together.
Yeah.
We literally got saved. For those of you guys who don't know, we got saved like around the same time. And we got baptized.
Yeah, together.
Time, which was awesome.
I still have that video. Yeah. It's on your mama's Facebook.
Yeah, that it is. And I share it every time it pops up. But yeah, man, having a good friend that you can, I mean, just the fact that we can look back and go, man, remember that time when we got baptized, or that one time where we did this and we did that, those memories, man, I mean, Goodness gracious, bro.
Man, I know we have so many. We have also a lot of memories before Jesus.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
was thinking about that too.
We might get into a little bit of that, but I do want to say this is that, what do you think truly is a way to hold on? Or no, I'll get to that. But what do you think is important for the type of friend we should be looking for?
Somebody who's going to be honest with you, right? Somebody who's going to be honest with you, and somebody that holds you up behind closed doors, right? Like somebody who speaks well of you and who genuinely loves you, right? Because, we got a lot of people out here, they'll say something in your face and, yo, I love you, I got your best interest, but in their heart, there's hate. In their heart, they don't have your best interests, right? They don't like to see you doing better than them. And you got a real friend when you're doing something and you're maybe in a better season than they are, and you're happy for them, right?
Yeah.
Or they're happy for you.
That's rare.
It's a hard thing to do. And I think that taints a lot of friendships. And that's not just friendships, that's any relationship where somebody gets jealous about what you have, because maybe they're in a season where that's the very thing they're lacking, right? So maybe that's their finances, maybe that's they're seeing how close you are to God and breakthrough that you're having, or in marriage, or maybe relationship with your family members. Maybe I know a lot of people, man, who they just fall out with their actual blood relatives. So that could be it too. But having a friend that genuinely is happy to see you happy, man, that is a rare thing. And if you find somebody like that, I would say keep them close, because it's hard to find.
That's good. I think that's super important. That's that's super big right there. I think also you almost have to have the same values too. Like, it's so weird that not the same. Let me put it this way. Our friendship is going to sound weird at first. It's almost like a marriage, right? And like 20 years of marriage, right? Look at this. Don't worry, we're straight. We got wives.
20 married.
Look, you see that? I know. But why I say that is I think the reason also of why we're still friends, why we're still super close, because our values match.
Absolutely, yeah.
And obviously there may be some differences of how we get to those values, or difference in opinions. But when it comes to the main thing,
the fundamentals,
our values are exactly the same.
Absolutely.
Why do you think that's important?
I mean, if you have somebody who doesn't value the things you value, maybe you're in a certain situation. I'll just give a random example, okay? Maybe you're in a situation where, your spouse is being difficult with you, right? And you call your friend, and your friend doesn't value marriage. Well, guess what they're not gonna do? They're not gonna encourage you to continue to love your spouse in the tough seasons. Matter of fact, they'll probably join in with you on slandering your spouse, on being hateful, which that's not gonna help you to love your spouse, right? And this whole podcast is about being closer to Jesus, and we're not getting closer to Jesus by not loving the people that are being difficult to us, whether that be family, our wives, our kids, whoever it may be. And so if the values ain't the same, they're not going to encourage you into the right direction, right? The Bible says that bad company corrupts good character. Yeah. So if your heart is for something good, but your friend, their heart is not, they're just going to point you in the wrong direction.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because it's not just like, they're probably not going to even give you the best advice, but they're going to be like, man, you want to go out?
Yeah, bro. Let's, for real though. Yeah. That's a real thing, man. Like, oh, you don't need them. Leave them. Let's go out tonight. Let's go do this. Let's go. Man, I know this one girl. I know this one guy. And then before you know it, now your whole life is in shambles. Your marriage is in shambles, or again, whatever it might be. Maybe you got a friend who doesn't value being financially secure and stable, and they just like to blow all their money, and you actually got goals. Maybe you want to start a business, or you're saving up for something important. You're not going to be able to do that if you have a friend who doesn't value the same things as you. Now, I'm not saying there's not some nuance and some differences in how people do things, right? Like, maybe Isaiah's better at saving than I am. I'm not saying there's not going to be some differences, but if you don't value the same things, the advice that you give, the wisdom that you're getting, I mean, it may ultimately not be wisdom at all.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I'm gonna get like the people are gonna feel some type of way because I bring this up. I don't know because I'm a Christian. No, but I can't remember. It might have been either Cat Williams or Marvin Williams, or it was one of those comedians where he was just like, I don't go to my friend's birthday no more. Because they did the same thing this year they did last year. And he was like, no, I go to like my friends, the ones that I'm still super close with, they moving. Yeah. They moving up as I'm moving up.
Yeah.
And he was just like, and that's where greed and all that comes in, because if one person is moving up in life and another person is just kind of like being stagnant.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's almost like, hey, do I have to go backwards in a way, or like, not, you should always help a friend, but like when you're constantly going forward in life and, you know, your friends or whatever, they're just kind of staying the same or even backsliding down. What I'm not saying is like forget about them and never, you know, serve them, care for them, love them, but like at the same time, man, that closeness, all of a sudden it starts to get larger and larger and larger.
Yeah, naturally. If you value different things, that's exactly what's going to happen. And I think, you know, for all you guys listening, keep in mind that might be the sign that you're looking for, that you don't have somebody who's going to be a good friend, you know, or has the same values as you. You know, if you guys are you're feeling like you're naturally just starting to drift apart, that's probably a good indicator that probably not the best friend for you.
Or it's probably an indicator to be like, yo, what are they on that I'm not?
Yeah.
Right? Because that's happened to us before, where maybe you've taken some steps and I'm like, yo, like, give me some good advice on that.
Yeah.
And then you give me advice like, yo, I want to start taking steps.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's another way for it to continue to grow. But
yeah, on a positive note. Yeah. So I was saying more on like some negative things that are happening. No, but on a positive side, yeah, absolutely, man. And that kind of goes back to what you were saying, where somebody's growing and it causes you to grow as well. But if it's the opposite direction and they're pulling you down.
So there's two big things I want to talk about. Here's the first one. There's probably people watching, probably have good friends and things of that nature. But there's probably people watching like, I just don't have what you guys have. And maybe I'm already 20, 30, 40 years old. You know, I don't have like that day one friend. Like, where do I find a friend like this? Where do I look? What are the things that I should be looking for? And we already kind of touched on the value part,
right.
But like, if someone's like, I want what you guys have, but I just don't know where. And I've been hurt by the church before and all of these other, I've been hurt by all these different people. And now I have all of these walls and I just want a friend that will be there for me. Like, what can you say to those people of like, hey, what's the best place to look? What's the best, you know, the best decisions to make to actually put yourself in a place where you are putting yourself in a place where there's good people and places where you can actually have good friends? Like, what would you say to that?
Yeah, so I mean, I think maybe it's less about where to look and more about, are you a good friend? Right? If you're looking for a good friend and you're a terrible friend, come on now.
Ooh.
Come on. So first thing is being a good friend, right? Are you a good friend to the people around you, or are, you know, and this, I'm going to be a little tough here, or maybe you don't have the friends that you want because you're not the friend that you want, right? Like, nobody wants to be around somebody who's selfish and only thinks about themselves and is always looking for what they can get from another friend. One of the best things about friendship is it's a mutual thing where both people are working, both people are putting in the work to build that friendship, right? So first thing, be a good friend. Second thing, obviously, if you're watching this, you're a believer. Church, man. Maybe some of you guys out there are just a little timid. I know for me, I can be a little more introverted, so it's hard to kind of start those conversations and to find and make new friends, right? Like if that's something that that even I'm trying to do at a moment, right? Like because new friends are okay. But yeah, I would say church is a good place to look, and really wherever you are, there's people everywhere that you go. And, you know, maybe a neighbor, right? It might be hard, but maybe you can knock on somebody's door. Maybe you've seen them outside a few times. I genuinely believe that God really does ordain friendships, right? But you still got to put in that action and figure out, hey, God, is this a person that maybe I could be really good friends with? But no good friendship is going to be built if you're not putting in any work.
Man, bro, when you said, it reminded me exactly. Well, this is what I'm starting to hear. All right. Sometimes I be thinking so much. I process so much. A good friendship is like a marriage.
It really is, bro.
Like,
I mean, you can't get away from it.
Like, it really is.
I'm trying to phrase it
outside
in a way,
of
but...
like, obviously, you know, the like that certain type of intimacy.
Yeah,
all right.
absolutely.
But this is what I say, like, the more you're talking, because I remember hearing Pastor Bryant, and what he said was like, all these young Christians, right? You guys are looking for wives. Totally fine with that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I'm trying to find a wife. I was like 23, 24 years old. I'm ready for a wife. I want a wife. Well, wife. I want a wife right now. You see, this is just how I talk. He knows. I have my own dictionary of words. Anyway, but I really wanted a marriage. I saw you married. There was some other people married. I'm like, why am I left out? And I'll never forget what he said. And it almost sounded exactly what you said, but about friendships. It was like, are you the husband? Are you the husband that certain wife that you're looking for is looking for? And I'm like, dang. I'm like, probably not right now.
Yeah.
And it almost goes right back to that friendship of like, you want these good friends. You want these, oh man, I want these day ones, or even not day ones. I want these believers on my corner. I want them strong. I want really good friends. But are you that good friend that you want to have?
And you got to be honest about that too. That's not something you want to, oh, I'm a good friend. Everybody knows I'm a good friend. Like, your reputation got to precede you. If you're a good friend, people are going to tell you you're a good friend. And if they not telling you you're a good friend, sorry, you might not be.
Yeah,
you might not be.
And here's the one thing, you know, I think that was solid, bro. That was gold. We're gonna cut that. We're gonna clip that, actually. But one thing that I will say is, okay, there's probably been people that had friends, but you know, something happened. There was some pain. There was some hurt. There was some. There was even possible backstabbing. I don't know what the situation is, but how do you navigate the situation of like, hey, my friend hurt me and I don't know if I could ever trust them again, or I think I can forgive them and I want this friendship to continue to move on. How do you know, like, hey, this is the type of friend that, you know, we argued, we did whatever it is, you know, because no friendship is perfect. What is that thing, or what is that way of like knowing that discernment of like, I need to get away from this friend.
Yeah.
I need to reconcile with this friend because he or she is too important for me in my life. How do you determine that? Obviously the level of seriousness, but
yeah. And to that point, this is gonna vary depending on the severity of the situation. But for the most part, if you have an individual who has wronged you, who is a friend of yours, and they are repentant and they're pursuing forgiveness, right? Like, you didn't have to convince them that they did something wrong. They knew they did wrong, and they're genuinely sorry about it, and they are asking for forgiveness. And that's something that we should extend. Now, let's say you've forgiven, you guys are restored, you're hanging out again, you're doing stuff together again, and this behavior or this betrayal happens again. Now you start to wonder, okay, is this going to be a reoccurring instance? Is this going to be something that I'm going to deal with over and over and over again? And it's one of them things where you really don't know until you know. Once it happens multiple times, then I think that's the point where you really got to start asking yourself, man, is this person really a good friend? Or maybe I'm blinded by something. Maybe there's something I was choosing not to see over time. And then on the flip side, like I was saying, if they're genuinely apologizing, and here's the big one, and this applies in marriage too. So it's so funny how the parallels are, but they're putting in the action and the work to make things better. I remember there was a few times where we've had some moments where we let each other down, and when those moments happened, I mean, I remember we had a fallout at my place, and I had to drive.
I remember
back.
that.
I got in the car. I felt so terrible after it happened. I said things that I shouldn't have. Nothing super crazy, but it just wasn't like me, and it wasn't right. And I knew I was wrong. And so I hopped in the car. I didn't call him. I drove straight to his house, knocked on the door, and said, "Bro, I'm so sorry. I had to drive over here and just apologize to you in person, because I know what I did was wrong. And I love you too much. Our relationship we've been friends for too long. I didn't want to just let this be and stay how it was." And so when you got somebody who's willing to go that extra mile to show you, hey, I know I did wrong, but I want to make it right, then I think that's a good place.
Hold on
to that friend. Hold on to that friend.
No friendship's perfect.
No friendship is perfect, man. You guys are going to let each other down. There's going to be disagreements, and disagreements are a hot topic nowadays, right?
Yeah.
You disagree with somebody, all of a sudden you hate them. If you can manage to weather the storm of disagreements, because they will come, you're going to have a healthier, stronger friendship, right? And honestly, one of the big things too is being honest with yourself. Have you fallen short in the relationship? And the answer will be yes. Okay, if you said no, stop lying to yourself. All right. The answer is yes. You've done some things to make your friend upset. You might have done some things to upset your friend or hurt them, and they never said anything. They never even told you, because they loved you more than that instance that happened, that hurt that happened. And so, yeah, be honest with yourself. Was it your mistake? Can you forgive? And is the relationship worth saving? I know for us, 20 years in, we have a disagreement. Oh, we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
We're gonna figure it out. I'll apologize profusely if I've done wrong.
Me too.
Yeah, and that mutual mentality is key. Is key. So if you've got somebody on the same page as you, then you're in a good place. Yeah. That's a good friend.
I think it's also about respect too. Like, we respect each other so much, and that takes a lot, to earn respect and give respect. I mean, we all have a general respect for everyone, because you want to have a general respect, but when you're talking about someone that you've known for like 20 years, like, there is this level of respect that me and you have for one another. And it kind of leads me to this next thing that I want to talk about, because this is something that is very important. This is what I think is very important. And it's simply this, is that how can you, what are some of the things that you can be as a good friend to other people in your life right now? What does that look like? And I'm not just talking about, I want you to be a good... How does it be a godly friend? How can you be a godly friend in today's world with the friends that are around you? For the friends around you that may be Christian, may not be Christian, how would you say, man, this is what... Because we talked about it, what type of friend you want to be. Go deeper into that of like, what type of friend should you be to the people around you?
Yeah, so are you a trustworthy friend? Are you somebody that I can tell you some of the deeper, darker things that I'm going through, and I can trust that you're not going to go run out and tell everybody else my business?
Gossip.
Right? Gossip. Kind of the same thing we were talking about, it just having that best interest in mind, right? Like, do you have, or does that person have your best interest in mind? You know what I mean? These are crucial things,
I remember I just read in Philippians, the Bible talks about like literally putting others before yourself.
Yeah.
And it is so hard.
That's a big one, man. Like, I think another thing too, to answer the question, is just being available. Being available. Sometimes, man, and especially in this day and age, we are so distracted with life and family. And I'm not saying these are bad things, right? Or even sometimes, let's be honest, man, we just scrolling, right? And I know even for myself, if I'm just being honest, I feel like I've gotten worse with this over the years, where I'm just like, you know, I hit him back, and then I forget, right? And so this leans back into the point of friendships are not perfect, and nobody in a friendship is gonna always meet the mark, but at the same time, just being available, man. Like, sometimes it's hard when life is go, 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 to be like, yo, I know my boy's going through something. I need to pick up, but man, I got some other stuff I got to do. But I think I'm gonna have to put that on pause for now, because I got to be there for him, and I might need to be there for him for the next hour or two, you know. And so being available and being able to be flexible, where it's like, hey, I had something planned, but my boy needs me, right? My friend needs me, and if I'm not there, he might end up in a situation where it's going to hurt him. And that kind of goes back to the point that I was saying earlier, where do you have that person's best interest at heart? And if you do, then you'll make sure that you put yourself to the side and your priorities and the things you need to focus on to make sure that they're okay. Right. And that is love. That is truly love right there, to put somebody and esteem them higher than yourself, right? That's what the scriptures say, right? To see others more important than yourself, right?
That's so good.
If you do that, whenever your friend's going through it, you're always gonna make time. You're gonna make sure that you're an ear, at least an ear for them to be able to speak and say what they need to say and get the things off their chest that they need to. Because sometimes it's just that. Sometimes it's just, I need to vent. I'm going through a lot, and I just want to talk about it. And sometimes once you get that out, like, it's like, hey, thank you. But
I've done that.
Another one is, are you praying for your friend? And this is...
Hold on.
I'm getting ahead of schedule.
No, I want to get to that, but I just want to go back for a second, because you just dropped some bombs. Yeah. Okay. You said to be available.
Yeah.
You guys need to hear that, okay? I watch a lot of basketball, a lot of football. That's one of the main things they say. They say, man, this guy has all the talent in the world. He gets injured all the time. Joel Embiid, love this dude. Always gets injured during the playoffs, right? And like, there's this saying in sports where some of the best abilities is just being available. Yeah. Right? There's this guy who just got signed, right? And he has like the number of days that he's been played. Like, there's 82 games in the season. He got traded during the season. So he played 83 games. So he played an extra regular game. He played all. And when teams look at that, they say that guy is always available. And they talk about the importance of that. And it brings me back to, man, the closeness of Jesus, right? Where Jesus had a lot going on.
Yeah, he did.
But there were moments where he was like, hey, guys, I need to step away from you so I can make myself available to my Father.
That's right.
And he would go by himself and just spend time and pray to the Father, which leads me to what you just brought up. And I just thought, how amazing the structure that Jesus leaves us of being available. Man, I like that. That's really hit me, because it's so important to be available to a friend.
Yeah.
It is more important that you make sure you're available to God.
Absolutely.
We're talking about getting closer to God. And yeah, having good friends and being available for friends, that will help you. But when you don't make yourself available for God, like, something happens, right? You get further and further and further. And so I think it is extremely important, as we look at Jesus, he had a billion things to do, could have done so many more things, right? I once heard this pastor, and I don't agree with it, but I'm not going to like beat on other pastors, but he was just like, Jesus didn't reach his potential. And I'm like, I love this pastor, by the way, and I won't say who, but I just didn't agree with that, right? But I got what he was putting down. Like, he is the Son of God. He could have done a whole bunch of things, but he chose not to, right? And so that's what he was saying. And so for me, like, I'm like, man, God, I want to make sure that I am making sure that I am available to you so that you can use this time that we have with one another and really grow me. And when that happens, you become a better friend.
Absolutely.
Which leads to what you were saying before I cut you off. Sorry about that.
Nah, you're good, man.
You cut me off, or I cut you off when you were just saying it's important to what?
To pray for your friend. And to your own point, if you're not praying and have your own prayer time, it's going to be a lot harder to naturally be like, you know what, prayer is a really important solution to this problem right now that my friend is dealing with. So having a prayer life and praying over your friend. And guys, it's so easy to be like, man, I'm going to pray for you. And I do this sometimes, right? Where I'm talking to my bro, he's telling me what he's going through, or vice versa. And we don't always pray right then, and we should. And there's been a lot of moments where we have, but I think, you know, as in anything, that's another area that we can do better in our friendship. And that's the beautiful thing about friendship. Like, you can always do better. You can always be a better friend.
I mean, even before this podcast, I was ready to hit the play, and he was like, hey, let's pray. I'm like, hey, you're right. I should probably do that. Let's do that together.
That's what good friends do, you guys. That's what good friends do.
So our time is almost up. We've been talking a lot, and one of the last things that I actually want to ask you is that final advice. What's that one final advice that you would give to someone that is watching, that is looking to whether they want to be a good friend or they need to get themselves around a good environment? We talked a lot about those things. So what is that one last advice you would give to that person about finding good brotherhood, being a good friend?
Yeah, just be patient. You know, God always works everything out in his own time. And so if you're looking for a friend, just trust and believe. And also, like we talked about, be in prayer about that friend. If you're wanting to be a better friend, you're gonna need to be patient then as well. You know what I mean? Like we talked about, friendship is, there's a lot of long suffering in any good relationship. And so if you want to be a good friend, you know, you're gonna have to be patient with your friend, with the person that you're a friend with. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna need to show grace, man. Like we talked about, they're not always gonna hit the mark and meet the mark, and being able to love each other through that is what truly creates a beautiful and strong friendship. And so I think that's what I would say is just patience, both on becoming a better friend and then also on hoping to actually find a friend.
Yeah, that's really, really good because, first of all, patience is a loaded word. It is a loaded word. If you actually go in the definition of patience, oh my goodness, I don't even want to go into what the Bible, the people had to go through. Yeah. Abraham waiting to almost sees 100 to get Isaac. It's crazy. But I think you said something that really hit the mark. And about being patient, I think so many of us, and we do this in all different types of relationships, whether you're looking for a girlfriend, boyfriend, or obviously a wife or a husband, especially even a friend, is that maybe we're so eager to find that person, to find a good friend, and we're not patient about it, and we kind of rush into friendships. And sometimes when we rush into friendships, what tends to happen is you want to be liked. You want to be have friends so bad that you end up changing who you are. And you don't really, I don't know if the word is exposed, but you don't really reveal.
Yeah, that's good.
Your true self.
Yeah, that's good.
Because you want to be friends with people so bad that you're willing to change yourself to kind of fit in that clique or to fit in that area of friends or that friend group, and you end up not being who you are. And that's what I think when you said being patient, it's so important because, you know, when you take your time to build real good friendships, you give yourself the space and even the availability to become you, to be you. Yeah. Because the last thing you want to do is rush into a friend because you need one, and you end up changing everything about you because you want to fit in.
Just to have a friend.
Just to have a friend.
Yeah.
And true friends, they will love you for who you are.
Yeah.
And I think we've heard this before, but when we started to change, we lost a lot of friends. Now, it wasn't like malicious, like, oh, you guys are Christian now. And like even our friends back in the day, they applaud us. They love us for the direction we're going in. but they just wasn't living that type of way. And so naturally we drifted apart.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But one of the things that really helped us is we were who we were, and we both saw that. I didn't have to fake.
You didn't
fake
have to hide
you.
it. Yeah, you didn't have to hide it.
And let's be honest, there were also some things that even in good friendships that I was even hiding from you, stuff that I was struggling with because I was embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
And it took a while for me to be open about it and to reveal that to you. But I'm telling you, the moment I did that to you and my wife and my pastor, I felt so much relief.
Yeah.
I was able to be truly who I was, even in my darkest moments. And I hid that from the closest people. Yeah. And that hurt me. That weighed on me for so long. But it had nothing to do with you. It had everything to do with me, because I knew I could share everything with you, and you would love me, you would help me, you would be there for me.
Yeah.
And that's the type of friend that we should all seek for, is a friend that will be patient with you, and also for you to be a friend, to be patient to that other person. But lastly, to be patient in finding the right group of friends. Don't rush into things.
Don't rush into it. Yeah, that's really going to be to your detriment. Rushing anything, we usually compromise on the things that, kind of going back to our first point that we talked about, or one of the first points, is just values, right? You're becoming somebody, and you're now trying to value things that you don't value. And guys, you're not going to be able to keep up with that long term, right? If that's not genuinely who you are, you're going to find yourself at a crossroad where you're like, man, I don't want to be this anymore. As a matter of fact, I don't even want to be friends with these people anymore. And now you've wasted all of that precious time trying to pour in and invest into a friendship that was never going to last in the first place, when you could have been seeking God's face and his will and finding the friends that he had for you, just being patient, and things could have ended a lot differently. Now, I'm not saying God's not a redeemer of time. He redeems anything. So if you've done that before, and we all have, right? We've all tried to fit in. If you've done that before, I'm not saying this to guilt anybody, to shame anybody, but more of an encouragement on what direction not to continue to keep going, and what that should look like going forward.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. I think I just got one last thing that popped in my head, and it has to deal with patience, is that God will, I think the closer you get to God, right, the more patient that you're going to become. I think also we need to be patient and giving ourselves to people. Yeah. I know it ties into like the whole being patient and making sure you find the right friends. Right. I'm going to say why that's important, because when you choose a friend group, whether they say they're Christian or not, sometimes there are some people who claim to be Christian, and you're patient, and you get to really see. When you're patient, you get to see their life. You get to see their decisions. You get to see more about them. And why that's so helpful is people will eventually tell you who they are by showing you who they are in time. And so when you're patient and you see that, you're like, maybe this person isn't the right person for me to be vulnerable with or to share certain stuff with. And so that's just another thing of why being patient will help in all areas of being a good friend, finding a good friend, giving patience to a good friend, and all the above.
Yeah. And then also, to kind of touch on what you were saying, knowing the difference between when this is a season for somebody, when maybe they're going through some stuff and they're not who they usually are, and when that's who they always are. You know what I mean? Because maybe, and we've had this, right, where a friend is in a low place, right? Maybe for a year, maybe for 6 months. And it would be foolish of you to throw away the whole friendship because, for 6 months they've been short-tempered and they're just not the friend or they haven't called me as much as they used to. Don't get into a place where you can't see where the other person's heart is and also what they're dealing with. This is part of being a good friend, right? Being able to look at your friend and say, you know what, something's not right. Something's not right. And I'm gonna be patient in this situation to wait it out to see, because I believe God's gonna bring them out on the other side. Versus, okay, it's been years. This person's always been this way, and I don't think they're changing.
Bro, I'm so glad you brought that up. That's because, again, it has to do with patience, being patient. But I believe you get there because there was already equity there in the friendship.
Already invested.
And so I think that's really important to point out. But also, you've done that for me. I remember we started this journey. I fell back, started smoking weed again and doing all these things. And you stuck it with me. Yeah. You know, you stuck around.
And I remember, you know, you became a pastor and you were becoming close to God. I had moved away and I felt like I was almost starting over. Yeah. Like, I mean, to be honest, I remember being moments where I'm like, man, am I even saved? Am I a true believer that loves Jesus? And I wrestled with that. And, you know, I remember being encouraged. I remember being challenged by your faith and your season of your walk. But I remember being encouraged by it too. And so, again, back to the whole, like, just building each other up, the value thing, like, I wanted to be where you were once again. And I mean, the Bible talks about this, right? Like you want to outdo one another in good works, right? And so when you see your best friend really pursuing God and doing the things that God has for them, right? Walking out their calling, it makes you go, at least it should, right? If you're a good friend and you have a good friend, the reaction should be, I want that, and not, I want to take that. I wish they didn't have it because I don't have it. And so you encouraged me a lot, man. And I remember those seasons. And we've both had them, man. Seasons of just drought, just lost, kind of, not lost, but just confused. Like, man, what's next? Yeah. And why am I here?
I'm actually in that season of getting out of that, you know, and you've been there every step of the way. And I appreciate you, man. I've set this off the camera. Obviously, this camera's just seen the first of us. But you know how much I appreciate you, how much I am grateful for you to be here. This is going to be, you're going to be back. You're coming back. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of different things.
This ain't the first time you're going to see me.
Let me tell you, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. We're going to get in trouble on this thing together.
Big trouble.
Big trouble.
Big trouble.
Yep. So I hope you guys stay tuned for when I have him back, because this is only the beginning. We're going to have so much more. We're praying to start our own podcast.
Yep. Spoiler alert.
Yep. Spoiler alert. And I won't give you the name yet. You're going to have to stay tuned to that. And before we dip out, do you want, I have not even 100 subscribers yet, but we're almost there. All right. We're like at 90 something, but I do want to say that keep subscribing, like, share, comment, but I do want to give you this opportunity, even though I just have this much, is what's going on with you? Like, what are some things that you want to promote that you're into, if you want to share?
Yeah. So, I wear many hats. I do, as my brother said earlier, I do photography, I do videography. I'm an audio engineer. And so if you want to follow me for the audio stuff, you can follow me on IG at Mixed by Notes. And if you want to follow me for anything that I do photo or video wise, that's 57 visuals, the word 50 spelled out, the number 7 visuals. And that's on IG as well. So.
He is great, by the way. So I'll make sure that I leave all your socials in the description. Make sure you, check out his stuff. It's incredible. Yeah. And thank you guys for being here. Remember this last thing is that close enough is not close enough when it comes to our relationship with Jesus. So, hey, we love you, and we'll see y'all next time. God bless. Take care.
Let's go and get straight to it. My God is the best. His name is Yahweh. I advise you to check. My God is certified, glorified. That's what I'm gonna do. Just give him your life. And you'll know the truth. My God is 100 proof.